Welcome back. We just saw one of the best games, if not the best game of the week in Optic Nation, stealing it away in the last 5 seconds. Miracles to TP for another dunk as they pull away at the very end. What a performance, though, by both squads. That was truly a show.
Right. That last, maybe 30 seconds, the way that played out, ON got that score to go up. EnVy, they spawned over at that back garage ramp. And instead of going back to their base to clear it out, they say, you know what, let's leave the members of Optic Nation there. There's, I think, one player spawning up. It was Karma at the ON base. EnVy decided, get drone, push straight through school right away. They got that score. They go up one. Now, on the flip side, the players are still in the EnVy base on ON. Miracles and Teep are still alive. So they go back towards mid-map. They come behind. Karma, I think, picked up 1 or 2. He picked up 2, I think. He got 1 in the window, 1 mid-street. Drone carrier came behind him. He scored. The 2 players on ON had a 2v1 back in that base. They were able to just throw that one in a Teep score. And that was one of the craziest games I think you will ever see.
Now you got to question, how is EnVy feeling mentally after such a strong finish to that hardpoint game? They slipped. They were up 4-2 in Search and Destroy, let Nation win 4 straight. Then they win the final fight there in the last 30 seconds to go up. In game number 3, Nation steals it in the last 5 seconds. Well, they got to forget about these last 2 games and come in as the same EnVy we saw in game 1.
So you can kind of compare this a little bit to a TK at Season 1 champ. So they had that tough, brutal loss to Optic Gaming. Then in the next series, they couldn't recover. I think you've had 2 brutal losses for EnVy in this series. It's going to be big to see if they can recover.
Merc's going to be rotating through Biolab as we throw on our COD vision. Saints outside going to have his hands full. His teammates losing their initial fights. He's got 3 surrounding him, and he will go down. So Nameless going to double back to the flag. Flag being pulled currently by TP of Nation, and already Nation going for the objective. All of TP's cover, though, going to fall. Nameless on the pinch, goes for the return. Will they now turn this into their first attack?
Surprised Nation even got that one out that far. I mean, Teep really the only player alive for the team right there, able to get it all the way out into snow. But this map plays so small, Puckett, but what's interesting is the ARs are so crucial on this Biolab CTF. I mean, that you're able to sit on top of the Eskies and you're just going to be able to shoot down straight through snow, stop any pushes through there, and then on the flip side, able to win all those battles over on that green plat. Really, from right now what we're seeing out of Nation, super defensive, going to be interesting to see. I think you're going to need Karma or Killa to go on the offensive.
And what do you think of Karma's positioning right here? Are you worried that they're turtling?
A little bit, but it's very early. I mean, you see Hook a lot in CTF. He plays very slow like that. And you're going to see Karma push up a little bit towards mid-map. Saints with a big 3-piece, though. Looks like EnVy going to go on that offensive.
TP's like, I'll see your 3-piece with a 2-piece of my own. Biolab control back to Nation, and Teep's going for the hunt. He's got the flag in front of him, but Nameless on defense, just like Karma on the other side of the map. Both players rocking the bow. It's going to be up to Killa, though, to stop this flagpole. Zuma is dropped, so both flags stand at home.
They need to get one of their ARs to top Purple Nation if they're going to get a pull. You're not going to have Teep going to be able to run in there, win that battle by himself. You're going to have Nameless pretty much playing defense for EnVy, and then on the flip side, you're going to have a combination of Karma and Killa playing defense for Optic Nation. You're going to need to have one of those ARs from either team. It's going to be, I believe, Nameless and Saints. For EnVy, you're going to have Karma and Killa for Nation. One of those ARs is going to have to push, win some big fights.
And you saw a little bit of team kill action. TP would have cleaned them up anyway. Solid defense, though, so far from both teams in our intro 2 minutes. Biolab, though, this is a map that I feel like we see so many flag stalemates. It's so difficult to just get a clean cap and total control of this map.
It's very difficult to get a clean cap. You're pretty much going to have to get a 4 dead. And a lot of the times, you almost don't want to be the first team to touch the flag. You see Karma, he has committed to the overextension. They're going to play for a stalemate. And I think right now, if you're Optic Nation, you have a man advantage. You run this flag right at where the flag carrier for EnVy is going. You saw they were going to do that. And Merc, he decided to backtrack, but now he is stuck in snow. I love the flag run by Optic Nation there.
TP's going to be a key player here. Can't get to Zuma in time, and Zuma's going to escape. Karma coming in to challenge. And Zuma, big plays to keep EnVy at 0-0. Now you got an opportunity for a flag return. Not going to happen as Saints was cleaned up back at the base by Karma. Nice job defending himself. Bit of a stalemate here, but the pressure continuing to be applied, and there is Teep. Teep going to go for the return. Can Karma put this one in? TP was not able to get that one back.
No, and it's going to be 3 players from Nation playing defense around Karma. I believe he's going to have Killa to his left. Miracles just off the spawn, takes one out over in Eskies. You're going to need more than one player to go on the hunt for Nation if you're going to get this one back. It's going to be Teep, though, over on blue, and he's going to be taken out by a nade and that explosive canister. But going on the flip side, Karma stunned with the flag, going to have one gun battle to his left. It's going to be Miracles cleaning that one up, but this one looks like this stalemate's going to last a pretty long time, Puckett.
Yeah, I actually thought we were going to see TP have an opportunity. All of the arrows were looking to purple for a moment. He could have charged in, instead tried to loop through the middle and was met with that canister.
They get the return.
Saints, though, going to be pushing up, can't stop the flag, and that was a big return. Did you see who got it?
It was Teep. Teep made his way all the way through on the overextension, able to get that return. He's going to take one out on his own flag. They are playing CTF to perfection. No, with Complexity, Teep, one of the best CTF players in the game. Then that was really the game, though, that Impact around Black Ops 2 really hung their hat on. They were great CTF. All the players know how to, pick up their cuts. CTF's really about, Chris, off the spawn, picking up those rotations, going to the right spots. And you hardly see the players on this Optic Nation team really, go to the wrong spot.
Big scoring opportunity. You got to win the fight. Back at home, they do. Killa cleans up Merc. TP, just one player to beat, but here comes the surge. Everyone losing control of Biolab, and now a counterpull coming through from Envy. Killa trying to chase it down out of ammo. Nameless is going to get this one through, and Envy might be able to answer with a second score.
And they tried to just run that one in right away. I would have liked Nameless to wait a little bit. You knew the players on ON were on that overextension. You only fought one gun battle back at the base to get that flag out. So you obviously know there's 3 other players alive.
Yep.
If you're not going to get any resistance in mid-bio, you're not going to get any resistance in purple, process of elimination, they're back at your base. You needed to play that a little bit slower.
All right, so just one score in the first side. Envy unable to answer back at the very end. We'll see what's going to happen, though, in round number 2. Optic Nation just has to hold on to their lead for 5 more minutes.
They can't play slow, though. That's one thing we talk about all the time in CTF. It's a game mode that a lot of people say, it's a very slow-paced game mode, but you need to win it by playing aggressive. You're not going to win CTF games turtling your base playing campy.
Matt, I got to ask you, which side would you prefer to play slow? Because Karma was definitely happy doing that in the first 5 minutes.
Well, they ran an extra AR on that first side, did Optic Nation. So they ran 2 ARs with Killa and Karma. They even ran a third one sometimes with Miracles. Let TP go on the offensive by himself. Teep just trying to dance around with the flag right now. He's able to keep it alive, but nobody on his team able to win gunfights. And he's going to wrap this one all the way back. And he's just going to try and buy time for his teammates.
Fantastic movement by TP. He knows where the spawns are coming from and his teammates, and he's going to run them right back. Flag, though, at home for Envy. So TP must stay alive, and we're going to see the flag is dropped. Here comes the return opportunity. And as you see on the minimap, big fight. That was Killa who had the opportunity to put that one back in. Instead, both flags remain out, and now it's going to be Nameless with a situation. Will he be able to put this one in?
No, it's actually going to be Miracles able to keep that flag alive for Optic Nation. Just a phenomenal flag run by Teep. He ran that one pretty much the entire length of the map. He ran it all the way to Green Plat, all the way back through Eskies, all the way through Snow, into Elbow, around a purple. Phenomenal flag run by him. And it looks like they're able to get a return again. Optic Nation winning both stalemates so far in this CTF game, really has separated the teams.
Yeah, you also saw Karma kind of controlling the middle of the map, making sure that no one is going to flood in for the counter cap. Nice patient play by Envy back on the defensive end, but now all the pressure is on them. Merc, their objective, man, at 10 and 13. Can he heat up and get a flag out? Catches TP, and really, at this point in the match, you just got to stop TP. He is playing some of the best AW we've seen out of him.
Teep just really doing everything in the Slayer department, stopping numerous flags for ON. And then on the flip side, I want to talk a little bit about Envy. We talked that they needed to get a good day out of Saints if they were going to win. They're getting a good day out of Saints. He has performed in every match so far. The hard point, you got great games out of Nameless and Zuma as well. Then in the S&D, things started to turn a little bit for those two players. They struggled a bit, I believe, finishing 5 and 18 on that one. And then now, in this CTF, you're getting a decent game out of Saints, 19 and 18. You need the rest of the other 3 to step it up.
Oh, Zuma almost turning that corner, gets caught up, and he is going to be taken down. Saints, will he challenge? He turns. That's going to be Karma up top. Shots going in, and the finish. He's got his teammates there, but the flag is out once again. Guess who? TP. Hanging out outside of Elbow, and he's going to have 3 teammates all surrounding him. They know all they have to do, hold on for 2 minutes more. They've got a 2-flag advantage, even if this one gets
somehow
returned.
A player, I believe it was Zuma, just ran straight by
How did
Killa,
that just happen?
able to get a return. You saw the way the players from ON were set up.
I was watching the mini-map, just expecting Killa to get that kill.
No, and nobody actually turned around and was able to kill him, so Miracle's going to have to win that gunfight against Nameless. Looks like Nameless may be able to get this flag out. One player trailing, going to be Teep, going to win that first gunfight, not able to win the second one. It looks like Nameless going to be able to get it out. Yep, Zuma's going to have to go big here. He's got another one coming through yellow.
There's just one more player to beat. Nameless goes up and above. Can he drop it in? Zuma has to get these kills. Saints charging forward, but that one is going to be returned, and Miracles with the pole once again.
Miracles and Teep, time and time again, we talk about they don't have a solely objective-based player. Both of those guys doing that work, splitting it up, and they have doing a phenomenal job around the flag here in this game, really making game-changing plays.
Zuma is going to go for the kill. Won't be able to get in. Both flags out once again. This one will tie it up for Envy. You got to look out for the Optic Nation player hunting for his return. Nameless trying to jump away. It's going to get met with the melee. 3 down for Envy, and here comes another cap. That might be the final nail in the coffin. 1 minute and 2 seconds left in this game. Nation with a 2-point advantage.
Teep did a phenomenal job staying alive. So he was in elbow, and I don't know if you caught it, but in the kill feed, he had one battle. It was with Merc. He was able to win that one, bring it all the way out through purple. Killa doing a phenomenal job wrapping all the way around. I believe it was Zuma, the flag carrier of Envy at the time, able to get that return. Envy, they need to keep the pressure up if they're going to have any chance of making this comeback.
Matt, I don't know how Ray is going to follow you up at the end of this on the analysis desk. You're just crushing it, my friend. Zuma pulling this flag out. Can't get it through blue. You see the desperation from Envy. They're pushing one at a time. The support isn't there, and Nation continues their assault. TP with another grab. This one is locked up. Optic Nation is going to be moving on as TP adds a 4th flag on the scoreboard. He put in 2, Miracles with the 3rd, and Karma with the 4th. Incredible performance across the board for ON.
And I talked about it a little bit before pregame on Biolab CTF. You almost want to be the second team to touch the flag. Counter capping on this map so huge, and the last 3 caps that ON had, it was a Envy pull, quick stop by ON, quick flag pull out through snow. They were able to get those ones out. They were able to solidify that win over Envy, winning that CTF. Phenomenal plays from Optic Nation all throughout.
TP 5 defends, 4 returns, 2 captures, and a positive game once again. Definitely my MVP of this match. What a performance from him. But it was Optic Nation after getting the momentum with the 4-round run there in Search and Destroy. They clutch up an uplink and then a dominant finish to close things out in CTF.
You know, the 2 objective players for me really stood out for Optic Nation. You know, Teep and Miracles. Every OBJ battle they needed to win, they won. And that's what kind of their niche as a team is. They have 2 kind of OBJ-minded players, very selfless players that have great gun skills. So they're able to win gun battles against most other teams' OBJs. All
right, Optic Nation is still in the running, hunting for a spot in that championship match. But coming up next, we're going to have our winners bracket finals, Optic Gaming and FaZe Red. So don't go anywhere. Before that match, though, let's send it down to our floor. Ben and Ray, what are you seeing from the new Optic Nation here in Championship Sunday?
Puckett, that's the Optic Nation you want to see, right? That's a 5-ring potential right there.
That's the second place Mr. X thing he was.
I'm
putting it on. You were talking about right.
Don't be bringing that up right now. We were just getting good friends and whatnot. Don't be.
But to be fair, like the first game, it was very close until that second rotation. Fort Hill, Envy just literally every single player in Envy got 2 pieces left and right, and they just held it for like I think 50 seconds. They got like a 45, 50-second lead going to the last. So I mean, pretty much ending the game. Like, everything happened before. It was very back and forth, but that Fort hardpoint Envy just turned it on and held it up. And we saw Saints kind of come out with a really good performance at the end of the game. He started really good, had a mid-rough game, Optic coming back, and then he seemed to be like kind of like the determining factor as far as Envy getting a lot of points in that map.
And then headed over to the Search and Destroy. For me, that was kind of must-win for Optic Nation. We kind of sat there and saying, you know, Nation, you need to win these Search and Destroys. You can't be throwing them away. But even that was pretty close.
Yeah, no, it was. And then Nation was down 4-2. We saw a really good clutch by Saints. It was a 1v3. To be fair, Nation it was kind of a misplay on Optic Nation's part. They were kind of like singling each other out. So Saints was able to get 1v1s left and right, even though it's a 1v3. So, then he made a really good play. He took his time whenever he knew the last player was in the corner building, and he just kind of like evened out his angles and then just jumped in and got the kill. So it was really well played on him. But then Nation just turned around, won 4 straight. I didn't think anybody, like, especially with how the game was going on, the pace of the game was going on before that. We saw kind of a few plays from EnVy. They're trying to get picks. They're trying to force the picks, I feel like. We saw Zuma a few times at the bomb side. Was trying to, like, we were looking at it. We're like, oh, there's a few plays that felt a little forced. They didn't really need to go for these kills at all times. They kind of maybe could have gave up a little positioning just to ensure that they're playing as a team. And I think that ended up kind of costing them in the game after that. It was 4 straight rounds, and Optic just came out on top.
So, that point, tied up 1-1. We then go over to Optic.
That was sick.
This was where the game basically just exploded. It was awesome. And again, the key for me with this Optic Nation team is when you have a team with 5 World Championship rings, you expect them to be clutch. And this is the first time that you really get to see them clutch up in every ring.
No, I'm sorry.
I mean, you had 2 runners up.
I had 2 chances. That's what I'm saying.
2 pats on the back for the runners up. But yeah, going into the Uplink Ray, break it down.
So basically, the one part here we want to talk about is TP went 35-21 at the game, and he had 6 of his teams, I think it was 8 or 9 caps.
Teep showed up.
Absolutely, like, Teep was the MVP of this whole series for sure, in my opinion. Really, the one thing is, though, on the first half, EnVy was up 1-0 with like 15 seconds left. This is one thing we talked about yesterday, is where players have the ball, and instead of throwing it away, trying to get kills, they're just trying to run around and dodge things. So there's a player on EnVy at one point that brought the ball in the hospital, which is a really good spot for that. They were technically on the non-favorable side. So EnVy had a 1-0 lead going into the good side, which is great for them. At that point, you're like, yes, thumbs up. But then I believe a player went to hospital, and he held the ball in his hand. He tried to juke around a little bit, and then he ended up dying to a player. And then as soon as that happened, with 10 seconds left, Optic came in and made a 2-point play to take the lead going into the bad side. But at that point, it's really the fact that if you make those, it was a really small play, but they kind of set up the second side. We saw EnVy get a really early cap 2 points. Then we saw Optic. So the one thing Optic did really well, I'm going to cut everything I was saying off. I'm going to get to the point. Optic was slaying in the base. Every time you saw TP kind of avoid the fights, kind of snuck through, and he would get to the opposing base. We saw like multiple times TP would get 2 kills. They would throw the ball to TP, and it's not like TP picked up the ball and ran it in. He made the plays to get there. Like he went 35-21. He's not just technically picking up the ball and going there and his team's killing around him. He's literally killing. His team's like, oh, no, let's just throw the ball over there, and picks it up, jumps in and gets a 2-point. He was literally playing so well, and his team was kind of backing him up in that. They're always throwing the ball up there at him, and then we saw like the back and forth in the game. And
so we actually have a BenQ best play for you guys at home if you missed it, and it kind of touches on this very end of the game. Ray, I want you to talk us all through exactly what happened. 20 seconds left.
So yes, 20 seconds left.
EnVy
takes the lead. You're like, okay, well the game's over. But look at your mini map here. This is really the interesting part. Okay, we're gonna see a player sneak by. I'm not sure who that player is, but basically Miracle sees that player sneak by, throws it and actually is TP. There you go. Want to get
yeah, gets like
right off spawn. Optic knew that. I mean, killing a guy at your base is not gonna change anything at that point. You are down by a point. There's 20 seconds left. You have to score. As soon as they spawned, they took a beeline straight to the objective, and TP got by a player. Some of the players on EnVy there was 2 down for EnVy at that point in time as well, so they were trying to play the ball contest, but a player snuck behind him. So not only did they not get ball control, Miracles barely got the ball off, to be fair. Like the player, if he would have died, the game was over. But he barely threw it over, and the player on EnVy responding as TP got there, but TP got snuck out, and then they did. I think
same thing.
I think there's 3 times they did that, where they basically TP. Well, at that time they didn't really get the kills, but TP got behind him and they threw the ball, and then he got the point. So it was super heads-up play on their part. And ended up winning the game. I mean, Teep was slaying out of his mind, but the rest of his team wasn't slaying that much. So he was pretty much a factor there.
Yeah, Teep stepping up so much, I think, from yesterday to today.
Yeah, especially comparably.
They looked like kind of a different squad.
No, to be fair, he wasn't playing up to par yesterday on his level. I mean, today was what.
That's what. Yeah.
And even today, I would say he probably played a bit above par. Like, I mean, Teep's really good, but like he was like really like, hey.
I'm one of the best in the game right now.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
Don't screw with me.
And then you go over to CTF Biolab, and this was one where. I don't know. We were obviously trying to queue up, get some food for lunch and whatnot.
Yeah, so I was able.
I was thinking momentum.
So we saw a lot of back and forth. I mean, it's the usual. Biolab as this kind of like. It's really this kind of map. The way the pros are playing it really ends up being there's a lot of stalemates. That's just the way it is. So players are kind of accustomed to that and they know that. So it's really about how teams play it situationally. And we saw a really good heads-up play on Optic situationally on the first side. They were able to get 1 cap on what's comparable to non-favorable side again. I'm putting these little fingers up because to me it's not necessarily that. I think it's just the way teams are playing it, especially Biolab CTF is really a map where I feel like teams need to like kind of adjust. Whenever a team's down, they seem to like they feel forced to pull, like have multiple players pull a flag. And when you have 3 guys focusing on pulling a flag, then you got no one in your base kind of covering that counter push. And then they just pull a flag and then you have to kind of. So yeah, it's not really helpful. Like, you need to understand that if you don't control the map and you pull a flag on this map, you're not going to do well. You're going to end up having these stalemates, and it just ends up being a really bad situation. So we saw it on both teams. Optic was able to get these 2 stalemates out at the end, and then it just ended up being the win.
Yep, Optic Nation looking very good, that's for sure. Up next, though, I'm excited for this one, Ray. Optic Gaming versus FaZe.
FaZe Red. We got Ace looking at us weird right now.
Give me prediction. Ace is out here doing all sorts of funny
Ace
things. I don't know what
is
he's
crazy,
doing.
yeah.
But prediction on this one. You can roast Ace. He's the right
I
there.
can
He
roast
can't say
Ace.
anything back to you. Yeah, roast him.
I mean, Ace has the most championships of any player.
This
so
is true.
You have to put that on his side. But then again, Optic is definitely. It's kind of like
Haven't dropped a map
FaZe
yet.
is like the opposite. FaZe is like the SB last year, and Optic's kind of like the Cole this year. So if Ace is going on as kind of like slightly the underdog team. And even if they were to win this, like you would like, oh well, Optic's kind of still the favorites,
right?
And like you said earlier, like technically, if Optic wins this event, it kind of sets them up to like have a more of like, even though it makes no sense and it doesn't change anything, it's all mental. In your head, you're like, oh well, maybe Optic will lose, who knows? But to be fair, it's gonna be a really good game. I mean, I'm super excited. The event I won is at this year, the first event. FaZe was able to take out Optic in 2 best-of-5s at the end. So
it's true.
Are we gonna see a repeat of that? Who knows? X, what do you think?
I hope so.
X
Is that 3-0?
3-0? No.
3-0?
Oh,
he
right.
said 3-0.
Hey.
He
I
feels
don't
real
know about
good.
that.
I don't know what he had in his
that.
juice
Yeah,
this morning, but he had something
He had his
pretty
Wheaties
strong.
today. Yeah.
But either way, very excited for that game. That's coming up after the next commercial break. See you guys in a bit.